Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Wesley, thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you very much. My name is John Wesley. I am the Director of Policy and Advocacy at the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Every year, through our member agencies, our advocates work with nearly 10,000 victims of domestic violence each year here in Rhode Island. We are here in strong support of this bill, Rep. Bennett's bill. We do want to see a path to 15. We'd like to see a gradual and incremental path. As has been mentioned before, we would also like to see an incremental, predictable path, and that such a bill getting us on path to 15 gradually would do that, and we could join our sister states who do already have a path to $15 an hour, although for Connecticut and Massachusetts it's by 2023, so we're already behind the ball there. So this is a priority bill for our coalition, and this is a public health issue and a health equity issue. We know that women and people of color are more likely to earn lower wages, and therefore they disproportionately experience the adverse effects of living in poverty. According to the American Public Health Association, wages and finances are strongly linked to a person's ability to access healthy food and other resources, which create strong links between poverty and chronic diseases, including obesity, diabetes, and others. So there's a direct link between having a livable wage and these chronic diseases that can affect someone over the lifespan. Many low-wage earners are the main providers for their families, including many of the victims we work with who are in single-parent houses. Many low-income earners, since they are the primary provider for their family, this puts their children at risk of living in poverty. And we know that 1 in 5 children in the U.S. Live in poverty, and that Black and Hispanic families are disproportionately represented among that number, living with minimum wages being earned by their parents. We also know that poverty and income inequality are root causes of family violence and domestic violence. The CDC estimated in a report from 2018 that the lifetime per victim cost for women in the United States is over $103,000 and over $23,000 for men. So this puts the lifetime economic cost to the entire U.S. population due to domestic violence at $3.6 trillion due to experiencing family and domestic violence. Loss of financial stability is a prominent reason that victims cannot get out of a domestic violence relationship, and lack of access to a livable wage and a wage that can sustain a family living independently is a main barrier to escaping a violent situation. No victim of domestic violence should have to choose between economic security for them and their children and their own safety due to earning a low wage that cannot fully support themselves and the children that they're trying to raise with dignity and safety. So we thank you for your consideration about this important bill, and we urge your strong support for a path to $15 an hour for the survivors that we work with and for all Rhode Island families. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have one question.
Representative
Do any of
Jackson?
the people that are earning these low wages get health care from any of these employers that are employing them at the low wage?
Well, that is an issue with some of the bigger corporations, and I may let our allies and partners at the Economic Progress Institute address that. But certainly there are some larger national corporations that do employ their employees at a lower wage, but they are not making enough to. But basically, they're in a situation where they're working and sometimes full time, but they have to go on Medicaid in order to get by because there aren't health insurance benefits
So if
attached to
they
their
made more
wage.
money and they had people paying better benefits, you'd probably have less people on Medicare, am I assuming right?
I think that would
Which
be
would be a
accurate.
lower cost for the taxpayers.
And healthcare is something we work with survivors who do have to, who struggle to have health insurance and healthcare for them and their family. And the cost of healthcare, the cost of housing, which is astronomical in Rhode Island as well. These are all additional burdens for families just struggling to get by, working full time and still living in poverty due to the minimum wage.
One economic disability of getting sick could wipe you out completely, throw you out of your house and make you homeless.
Sure. Sickness, cancer, car breaking down, and
attack.
unfortunately another one is domestic violence, having to flee a
Domestic
domestic violence situation, having no viable housing options. And if you don't have an employer who's willing to be flexible and pay you a decent wage, you may have to return to an abusive situation because that's the only way you're going to get by. So the survivors we work with often experience that in the current climate.
Thank you, Nick.
Any questions?